Hello everyone, I'm Willow Wisteria, and I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about a product that I've been using for the past 3 years, and I am so in love with it. I only do reviews on things that I'm really passionate about, and over the last 3 years I have been using this product non-stop, and I really cannot imagine life without it. So we have an urban homesteading family of 9, and we're vegan, so we eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of greens, a lot of fruits, and we're also in Colorado, so we don't get to grow all year long outside. But I found in doing a ton of research and comparing and contrasting so many different indoor hydroponic growing systems, I finally settled on the Gardyn. This was before the pandemic, and I just wanted a way to supply our family with greens while the winter months were happening, because there is a really big chunk of time that we are unable to grow greens in our garden outside. And so we bought a Gardyn back in 2019 and started learning how to use it. The learning curve was very, very simple. I mean, we had it up and running within probably an hour. It is kind of a no-brainer. I feel like I'm almost cheating because I pride myself in my garden outside and in growing my incredible plants inside, and I cannot believe how easy it is to grow greens and tomatoes, sweet peas. There's so many things that you can grow on the Gardyn system, and I feel like I'm cheating. So having all this experience that I have of growing tropical plants inside and specialty plants, to growing our full garden with vegetables, greens outside, as well as lots of herbs, I can tell you that I can give a really good review as to how easy it really is, and maybe the kind of expectations that you can have of the Gardyn system before you buy it. So first of all, this really is a no-brainer. There is no real knowledge that you need to have of growing anything if you get the Gardyn system. You don't need to worry about not having a green thumb or experience in growing anything. It really takes care of everything for you. The idea behind hydroponics is that it grows with water. There is a medium that the roots go into and the plant actually grows from, which I believe is a rock wool medium. There's no worrying about dirt or anything. Really the only thing that you need to worry about is just having water and making sure that the plants have water. The rest of it they supply you with. And when I mean the rest of it, these Y cubes that you can order directly from them, they already have that growing medium. You literally just slip them in and they start growing. So there's no mess, there's no fuss. Now there is plant food that you have to make sure that you get into the water. So really all you have to worry about is water, ordering the Y cubes from them, and the plant food, and everything else is just taken care of for you. So no green thumb necessary. It really is just kind of a joy to watch. Everything sprouts really quickly. You don't have to wait too long, and I'll get into that in a minute too, in terms of like finding your own rhythm with how you grow things so you have things timed properly. But there really are no rules, no fuss. It just kind of does its own thing and takes care of itself and produces wonderful food in a very, very small contained area. So just to cover the specs, this is all stuff that you can get on their website, of course, but just to give you a little bit of information, it's 30 plants in the system. So at one time you can be growing 30 plants at once. The unit itself is really small. They tout it as being 2 square feet. So it is 2 feet wide by 1 foot deep, and then it's 5 foot 4 inches tall. So it really does not take up much space at all. The amount of plants that it actually gives out, I mean 30 plants for that small of a space, is just brilliantly designed. It really is brilliantly designed. Now, one thing that you need to take into consideration with that is that it does put off light. And that is both a wonderful thing because, again, you can put it anywhere in a room that doesn't even have windows, or closets, wherever you want. And it puts off the light that it needs to grow the plants. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily want it in a room where the light would be bothering you. You wouldn't want to put it in a baby's room where they would be napping during the day or something like that. There is an app that comes with the system, and you can control when to water it, and you can control when the lights come on and how long they're on, and if they're on really bright or a little less bright. And that's all the stuff the app will walk you through that, so you really don't have to have a lot of knowledge on when the light does what, but you can tweak it based on your needs. The app will help walk you through what the plant needs per day in terms of light and watering to make sure that they grow healthy. So I mentioned the Y cubes. These are the little pods, the little cubes that you buy through Gardyn, and you can buy them through the app. You can get a membership through the app where you get a certain, I think it's 10 cubes a month that you can choose from this ever-changing selection of different vegetables and fruit, flowers, herbs. They add new things all the time. All of the plants, from my understanding, every single one of them are organic. And so you don't have to worry about that. They're non-GMO. They're very great selection of greens, so many different kinds of greens. That's something that we were so excited about, is that, sometimes you just get tired of eating spinach and kale and just a normal lettuce. They have such a selection of greens. It's incredible. And you can also buy these Y cubes that are empty. They don't have any seeds in them. So if there's something that you would like to grow that they don't offer, that is an option too. And that also made me very happy because there were a lot of things that I'm kind of picky about, and there's some things that we like, some specialty lettuce that we couldn't get through Gardyn. So, there's just a lot of flexibility that I didn't find in other hydroponic systems. The flexibility is that, you can plant what you want within reason. Of course, you couldn't do like root vegetables or anything like that, but you can plant what you want. The ease of just ordering through them, if you didn't really want to give it any thought and just choose from their selection. I love that they were all non-GMO and organic. So it just really seemed like the best fit for our family and the needs that we had as well. Something that I just want to talk about too is once you get the system, you kind of find your own rhythm with it. Like I said, you have 30 different plants, and at first, you load it up and nothing's growing and everything just starts sprouting. And of course, different plants sprout and grow they mature at different rates. So you start to get a feeling of what you use most and what you can pick from. So, keeping in mind that a lot of the lettuce, we just pick the outer leaves and the plant continues to grow. So it's not like we harvest that whole plant at one time. We just pick the outer leaves from a bunch of the different greens that we have to make our salad, and they just continue to grow. But you can find your own rhythm where, bok choy is one of the options that we've used many, many times, and we usually harvest that whole plant when it's ready. And when we do, we replant something in there, and there becomes kind of this rolling cycle of plants that we end up having maturing at different times, which is perfect because then, it's not like you clean out the whole system and then you don't have plants for a month, 2 months, keeping in mind you're not harvesting each plant at a time. You're kind of picking things from it. The tomatoes you're picking from, the herbs you're picking from. And so everything just kind of cycles, and you figure out a way to make it cycle in a beautiful way that you always have stuff to take off of the garden. And it's never just kind of out of use, if that makes sense. That being said, of course, there are times when we clear off the entire garden and we clean the whole thing. We don't do that very often. Honestly, I think I do that maybe once a year, and it is not painstaking at all. A lot of the roots sometimes they will go down into the tubes, but they're generally pretty easy to pull out when you're pulling out the Y cubes. And I take a lot of the stuff apart, put it in the dishwasher, put it back together again. It's very, very simple to do. As far as normal upkeep, I usually put water in the tank about once every 10 days. I add water to it. And then once a month, I pick up the top of the system, pull it off without disrupting the plants at all, and I can take the bottom tank, clean it out completely, add all new fresh water, add new plant food to it, fresh plant food, and it's just like you completely revitalize the water. And I can do all of that stuff in our kitchen sink. It's a pretty big base, but it's not obnoxious, and it's something that I can carry full of water as well. So I don't want anybody to worry about being something that they are unable to handle themselves. So in terms of basic upkeep, as you can tell, it's very, very simple. They have cameras on them so that if you are out of town, you can watch your plants, make sure they're happy. I mean, this is really great for people who travel too, because again, you don't have to water the plants. It does it for you. You don't have to worry about lighting. It does it for you. You can watch them grow with the cameras. Honestly, I don't use that as much, but I do work from home, so I get to watch them whenever I want. But it is a really neat feature. So it really is such a simple way of being able to grow your own food indoors, no matter what time of year. My children, we have 7 children. They absolutely love watching everything grow. It gives them this sense of accomplishment. They of course don't need to do much to have it grow. They just watch it. But it really does, it's a beautiful thing to have in your house. It's not something that looks like an eyesore. I know a lot of the hydroponic systems out there are really awkward, or they have growing space all around them, which takes up a lot of room. This just easily goes up against a wall, and it really is pretty, especially when it's in full glory. It's beautiful. But my children love to see it. I love to see it. It really does. Growing plants, I've said this in many videos before with a lot of my house plants. They bring so much joy to your life. They really, really do. And, it is proven that they actually do help with depression and anxiety, but there's something too. I mean, houseplants are one thing, they're beautiful. There's something about growing your food in your house. I mean, I love growing outside. Our outside garden is just my pride and joy. But when you're growing your food and you have these beautiful plants growing together and you get to eat them as well, and they're beautiful, it really is a joy to have in the house. And I am so happy that we went with Gardyn. Like I said, I do research ad nauseum with everything that I purchase, especially when it's a larger purchase and something that I want to use for years and years to come. And here I am 3 years in, and I could not be happier. Actually, we would like to get a second system. I think I want to grow a bunch of herbs. I'm an herbalist and I have an apothecary, and I'd love to be able to grow a lot of the herbs for my apothecary carry all year long as well. So we're contemplating getting a second one too. But I just wanted to jump on in case somebody out there is also doing a bunch of research on being able to grow their own greens and vegetables indoors. It was a godsend during the pandemic when we had a very hard time getting our hands on fresh greens. For those of you who are in the market for a hydroponic system, would highly recommend checking out the Gardyn system. I also am going to be answering questions if you have any that I haven't covered in this video, so go ahead and put them in the comments below. I will also put in the video description an affiliate link. Should you choose to want to try a Gardyn system, it would give you $100 off. It would also help support me as well, and I'd be so grateful for that. So I have to say, whether you are an experienced gardener or you can't even get a dandelion to grow, Gardyn has really covered all of the bases because it takes care of everything for you, but at the same time, it's just such a joy to have. It's so convenient, it's so easy, and the yield is incredible. I use it even throughout the summer when our outside garden is in its full glory. I can't imagine not using it. It has just been such an asset that I can't imagine not having in our lives. So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're on the fence and thinking about a hydroponic system, this has just been incredible for us. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and until next time, be well.
2, 3, take one! Take one!